Good day, student. My name is Edu Triumph, your contact tutor for the Tactics and Learner Support for Computer Studies. There is a course or a module that I so much love. Do you know why? It's a profession that I've been for the past 19 years, teaching computer studies. It's a module that I so much love, and I'm happy that you are coming to the profession. Some of us who have been in the profession for some years now, almost 20 years now, will guide you on how to go about it. So look at me beyond your tutor. Look at me as somebody who is also there to guide you on this profession, to also help you grow when it comes to become a computer studies teacher. Some of you listening to me here on this presentation are degree holders in computer studies. You are graduated with BSc in computer studies. Some of you have masters in computer studies. But you know, it is one thing to know something, it is another thing how to explain it to people. You know, my student used to tell me in computer studies, "Sir, I know how to work on that thing, but I don't know how to explain it to you. But I know it. I know it, but I don't know how to explain it to you." All right, what am I trying to say? Some of you already know what a computer study is. You know, you've graduated with it. But now, you need to be a qualified teacher. That is why you came to Iol, to make you qualified computer studies teachers, so that you'll be able to teach learners from grade 0 to grade 12 computer studies. So you're welcome to the profession. It's going to be good to work with some of you as colleagues after graduation. I know some of you are already into the field, but I wish we work together one day in the same school. So you're welcome. That is just the introduction. My name is Edo. I'm going to guide you through this presentation. Which presentation are we having today? This is called Examination-Based Content Class. It's a presentation where the tutor guides you on how to go about the examination. It's not a presentation where the tutor is going to tell you these are the questions that will come out in your examination. Is a presentation where the tutor is just going to guide you on how to go about your examination. Do you understand? Yes. So, this presentation is for who? It's for those taking advanced certificate in secondary education and those taking diploma in education secondary. Those aspiring to become computer studies teachers. It is called the Tactics and Learner Support for Computer Studies. How will you be able to support your learners in the classroom while teaching computer studies? Now, the presentation is for April, August, and November 2020 examination. So if you submit your assignment in January and you pass your assignment in January 2020, this presentation is for you because you are going to write the April examination. If you submit your assignment in June 2020 and you pass your June assignment, this presentation is for you because you are going to write August examination. Perhaps you write the April examination, you did not make up the pass requirement, or you write the August examination and you did not meet up the pass requirement, there is a supplementary examination in November 2020. This presentation is for you. Okay, this is not a scope. Mr. Edo is not here to tell you that these are the topics you must read. Nah? These are the units you must read. I'm here to guide you. So don't call me after the exam and say, "Mr. Edu, I saw a question you never discussed in your presentation. I have told you in red, not a scope, a guide in green." Do you understand? Yes. Let's get the ball rolling. Good. When you pick your question paper, what are you going to see? You're going to see different type of questions. out of 130 marks. 130 marks. It's a lot, no? Yeah. To become a computer teacher, it's not easy to, a lot of questions, but easy question. But before you enter your examination hall, my beloved student, take your study guide. You see, there is a page that talks about words used for examination, or terms or verbs used for examination. Please, I beg you, go and revise those things. Don't look down on them. State, explain, differentiate, outline, demonstrate, propose, suggest, distinguish. Do you know what it means if I ask you to discuss what is expected of you? You must know as a teacher. Even beside the fact that you are a student now, you must know. If I say discuss, do you know what is expected of you? Do you know what it means to discuss? I know some of you have been teaching for some time. You take your computer, you type discuss computer virus. What do you expect from your student? If the student just give you a definition, is that fine? Is that all right? When you say discuss, you need to know. That is why we advise you, please familiarize yourself with these terms, with these words, on how to discuss, how to explain, how to differentiate, to distinguish, how to list, how to define. They are very necessary. There's one examination I had an encounter with one of my students who said, I got everything right, Mr. Edu. I'm a graduate of computer studies. I have been teaching this subject also. How can I fail this? I said, no problem. I'm sorry if I have marked it wrong. But let's go back to the thing and look at it. Then as it was over the phone, we were talking on the phone, then I tried to bring out some of those questions. Then I'd like to, can you see that the way you are answering the question, you are wrong? You know the thing, but you are not answering it well. Can you see where the problem comes? I'm emphasizing this because I know some of you are already computer studies teachers. If I say propose, what do I mean? If I say evaluate, what do I mean? You know, but how will you put it? Go back, I repeat, go back and go through all these terms. Now let's come down to the examination question paper. I already told you before, you're going to see 130 marks. Then the question is, out of 130 marks, the very first question that you are going to see will be this. Explain the following computer terms. That's the first question. For those of you who have taught or who are going to teach computer studies, you must have seen in your computer study question of your grade 12, it's always like that. Explain the following computer terms, questions. So I will give you some questions to explain, some terms rather, to explain. Those terms will be very simple. Things like computer virus, this, computer, what is a sensor, what is data validation, those little terms, please, you need to explain them. But not one thing is this, which I want you to give understanding to, apart from these terms that I want you to explain. This course or this module is not really focusing on computer studies understanding. No. This module focuses on methodology on how to teach computer studies and how to support learners that takes computer studies. I want you to get it very clear what this module is all about. I want to repeat it. This module is not all about you understanding computer studies. No, that has been taken care of in computer studies module. Do you understand? Some of you were exempted from that because you are already graduate of computer study, computer science. This module is to equip you as a computer teacher to know the various methodology to teach the subject and to equip you on how to examine students, to equip you on how to help learners when they have problems with computer study. So it is all about the methodology. Do you understand that? I know some of you also must have taken courses on education methodology, teaching methodology, and management and other things. But this one is designed specifically, customized for computer studies teachers. Do you understand? Yes. So apart from explanation of those questions, when you get your question paper, you're going to see section A, which is theoretical for you to write. You're also going to see section B. That one is you will be given a practical examination. Why practical examination? It is in line with your assessment policy. Besides the assessment policy, it is good for you as a computer studies teacher to prove to us that you know how to work on the computer. So, in section B of your question, you will be provided a computer in the examination hall and a printer. Don't worry about how about that. That is IOL problem. IOL will provide you that. So you will be provided a computer and a printer. Now in that section B, there will be a question from either Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Excel. There will be a question from either Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Excel. Then what should you do? You will put on your computer, have the work done, and print it out and submit it to your supervisor or to your whoever is vigilating you. It's a practical section, either from Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, at times from Microsoft Access database, at times also from database. So prepare yourself for a practical work. How can you approach other questions? From now on to the end of my presentation, what I'm going to do is to select some topics, select some past question papers, and discuss them with you, how to approach them. But take note of one thing, it does not mean that these are the questions that will come out. It does not mean that topics that I did not select from are less important. It does not mean that you should pay only attention to these ones that I discuss in the exam, in my contact-based presentation. No. These are just selected ones that can fit in within the allocated time for this presentation. So let us look at this question on the screen. Discuss. Can you see the word discuss now? Discuss common difficulties experienced by Namibian secondary school learners in computer studies. Discuss common difficulties experienced by Namibian secondary school learners in computer studies. Look at this question very well. Number one, you are going to discuss, not to define, not to list. I did not say list common problems experienced by learners that takes computer studies in Namibia. No. So, number one, we are going to discuss. What else should you pay attention to in this question? This question is a specific question, says, by Namibian secondary school learners. So, if you give me answers that are not applicable to Namibia, then I mark you wrong. I have taught this type of course in a country, I don't want to mention the country, in a country where electricity is not regular. So, if you mention electricity be one of the problem, I will take it. Now, let's say a country like United Kingdom, where electricity is not a problem, then you mention electricity as one of the problems, there you are wrong. So pay attention to the point you can give in this type of question, because it says by Namibian It's a local question. So from your experience, from your research, from what you have also studied, what you have read from your study guide, what are some of the common problems that are faced by learners that take computer studies in Namibia? To answer this question, I said, number one, identify the problems first. After that, discuss the problems, giving some examples. Whatever you identify should and must be relevant within Namibia. Then you are 100% right. Identify them. Identifying them means you list them. After listing them, you explain them. I'll give you one or two examples. Let's take the example that is common to most areas. Let's talk about one problem is lack of qualified teachers. You quite agree with me that if we don't have qualified teachers for qualified teacher for computer studies, qualified computer teachers. In fact, I want you to correct that one. Lack of qualified computer teachers can be a problem. If the teacher is not qualified to teach computer studies, how will you be able to teach the subject effectively? It's a problem presently in Namibia. Lack of adequate textbook. Lack of adequate infrastructure. Lack of quality in teaching. Lack of electricity in the rural areas. Lack of infrastructures in the rural areas. So you list them and explain them. You give an example. Okay, let us look at another sample question. How to support underachievers in computer studies. Who is an underachiever? Is it a failure? No. Nobody is a failure. Nobody is a failure. Underachiever are people who are learners. Let me relate it to education. These are learners that are not performing to the expected expectations. These are learners that are not performing to the expected expectations. You have your course outline. Let's go back to secondary school now. You have your syllabi. They say at the end of this lesson, the learner will be able to do this, do this, do this, do this. After you have taught that topic, you go and evaluate yourself. Probably you give a topic task to the learners. At the end of the topic task, you look at the average of learners who are able to achieve the competencies. You see that it's far below 50%, very low. Maybe only 10 of them were able to achieve good marks in that topic task. Then, definitely, there are learners in that class that are still underachievers. They are not performing well. They are not achieving as expected. How can you, as a computer studies teacher, support these learners to bring out their potentials in that subject? So you need to know who is an underachiever. Now, how can you answer that type of question? You want to identify and propose ways to support such learners. If you bring out a point, for example, that for me to support my learners that are underperforming, this is what I am going to do. That point that you are bringing out, it must come with a valid reasons. So you don't just propose. Remember, propose means, what do you think? All right? Your proposal might not be valid. So when you proposed, what should you do? Support it with valid reasons why you are proposing this. If you look at your study guide, there are so many ways that are listed in your study guide on how to support underachievers of computer studies, at the secondary school level. One of them is you want to boost the confidence of that child. Let me take you one example. I wish I can play the video here, but unfortunately I don't have the video here. But I will just kind of explain to narrate what happened there. There was this child who was brought from the village to the city. I was teaching computer studies at the Cambridge level. Now, the child was brought from the village. Then we tried to give him the mouse. The child was crying because he was seeing this red thing from under the mouse. He thought it's fire that can burn him. He was screaming. He cried, "I'm not going to touch the mouse." He feels that he cannot perform in computer. The child feels that computer is only for students, it's only for learners in the big city. The child feels that computer is not for me. I'm just in the village. It's for these learners in the cities, learners whose parents are wealthy, learners whose parents are there. That confidence is not in that child that he or she can pass. When a child is not confident of that he or she can pass, what is going to happen? Most time he doesn't perform. So what can you do to assist such a child? You want to boost his or her confidence. You know what I did? I let him be for that day. Don't push too much. I'm just talking from an experience. There was one good day, I put up a game. I hide the mouse under the table. Then I called him during break time. I said, "Do you like this game?" He said, "Yes, Mr. Edo, I love this game. You know, I put on an interesting game." He said, "Oh, wow. Before I knew what is happening, he's in love with the game." He was already smiling. Then I told him, "What I put for you is a demo. You can play this game with the computer now. But for you to play this game, you need a mouse and other things." Then I say, "Can you look at this red thing? It doesn't burn you." Gradually, I create confidence in this boy. Gradually, he started using the mouse. He started playing the game. At one time, the computer defeated him. Then gradually, he got confidence. He got to a time he started making good scores in the game. I was telling you, before the bell rings for break, the boy is already in my office. Before the bell rings, the boy is already there in the computer lab. This is the boy who was running away from computer the first day. Now he's the first person, break time, every period. In fact, he never want to attend other classes. He want to come to the computer lab. The lack of confidence was taken away. Build confidence in the child. Another thing, I'm not going to discuss all of them here. You need to understand the real problem. Why is the child not interested in that subject? Do you know at times that if a child does not like you, he or she might not be interested in the subject, but you don't really know why the child is not interested in the subject. That's why you need to understand the real problem, why the child is not performing. You need to be a parent. Call the child to yourself. So there are so many ways to help underachiever. Read your study guide. The author of the study guide has written a lot of ways on how to assist an underachiever in computer studies. In computer studies. Why am I emphasizing it? If you write for me in the examination, some of the methods, some of the ways to assist underachiever in mathematics, in computers, I will mark it wrong. That is why it is a unique presentation. Let's look at another area, methodology of teaching computers studies to computer learners. Do you know how to teach computer studies? I know you will say, "Yes, I can teach computer studies." You can teach computer studies. Let us look at methodology. Which method can you use to teach these learners? Take note, you are not lecturing here. You're talking about the secondary, primary education. Which method can you use to teach the learner? There are different types of learning methods, but we prefer the learner-centered method. the learner-centered method. That the learner-centered method engages the learner to be actively involved in the process, not just as an end product. It's not for the learner to sit down and watch you throughout 40 minutes in the class, you talk about, then you leave the class. No. In the learner-centered teaching methodology, the learner must be actively involved. The learner must be actively engaged in what you are doing. Otherwise, you are going to force the learner to memorize things. So, the different methodology, but apply the learner-centered method in teaching your learners. You will see you'll be more productive in your career. Tell the learner, let's get the work done together. In fact, it should be 80 to 20%. 80% of the learners doing it, 20% of your time, guiding them. Okay? Let's talk about something else. Setting up of a computer lab. This is in Unit 1 of your study guide. We have different ways to set up your computer lab, the different layout. This one is the U-shaped method. Do you know other layouts? Do you know other layouts? Can you draw their diagram? Please refer to your study guide about other layouts on how to set up a computer lab for teaching purpose. Expert system. There is a topic in your study guide. I'm sure you must have learned a lot about it from your computer studies. What is an expert system? What are the main domains of an expert system? What are the advantages of an expert system? How can you answer questions on an expert system? You need to familiarize yourself with it also. Let us look at another area. Like I told you, I'm just picking topics randomly, the module to explain in the class. How to explain concepts using pictures or diagrams. How to explain concepts using pictures or diagrams. They say in education, learners can remember pictures. Learners can remember diagrams. Learners can remember videos better than what you have said in the classroom. How can you use pictures to teach computer studies? You can get your pictures from the internet. You can get your pictures by screenshotting them. All right? Crop them to focus only on the area that is needed. If you cannot get them, you can draw them and scan them. Pictures are very necessary tools to explain to learners. When learners see, then they can understand. Take this topic for example, computer topology, network topology. Don't teach such topic without showing the picture. If you talk about the best topology, show the picture, explain to the learners using the picture of the best topology, then they can know how the computers or other related devices in that network are connected in that best topology. So, if I ask you in the exam, what are some of the sources of pictures or diagram while teaching computer studies? Or trying to explain, I want you to explain to me the effect pictures or diagram can have, or how can it boost your learners' understanding of topics in computer studies. There's what we call direct instruction, and there's what we call indirect instruction. These are things that are in your study guide I also want you to explain. The direct instruction is highly teacher-oriented, while the indirect instruction, it is highly learner-oriented. It's the same thing as learner-centered methodology. Another common question that we ask in computer studies, didactics and learning support is budgeting for computer laboratory. If you are to budget for a computer laboratory, what are the common and necessary items that must or should be there? Can you see a list of items on the screen? Tables, chairs, cables, internet service, monitor, server, and so forth. Okay. If the question lists, do not explain, just list them. If the question says list, just list. If the question says propose, propose must come with a reason. Why are you proposing that the computer lab must have fire extinguisher? Put it there. Okay? One of the most crucial aspects of your work as a computer study teacher is classroom management and discipline. Good, you're very good in computer. Good, you have prepared a very good lesson plan. You have a very good video to show the learner. You have done a nice preparation for your work. So happy to go to the class. Now you get to the classroom. There is this boy who will not allow you to teach. There is this child who is laughing while you are teaching. There is this child who will always disturb you. What will you do when it comes to classroom management and discipline as a teacher? You know, there are times students from UNAB and NOST do at times come to my place of work at times for teaching observation and classroom teaching, school-based practice. As a head of department, then I allocate them classes. Then as a head of department, it's my duty to also see how they are doing it. You get to the class from the window, you look at the student teacher, that this teacher is very good. He knows what he's doing, but the noise is there. The noise is there. What is lacking? Classroom management and discipline. What should you do as a teacher to maintain classroom management and discipline? It's one of the biggest challenges of teachers, not only in computer teachers. So I will tell you, anytime I have grade 9A, I have to pray to God first because that boy is there. And the ministerial rule says no corporal punishments. So what should you do? There are quite a lot of suggestions, research that are written in your study guide. I will just mention one of them in my presentation. Set out the rules at the beginning and the consequences. The very first day you enter a classroom, my name is Mr. Edu. I'm from so and so. From today, I will be your computer teacher. Do not start teaching immediately. Set the rules in line with the Educational Act. Don't go outside the Educational Act. You find yourself in the court of law. Don't go outside the education. Set your rules and the consequences. If you change a computer password without my permission, this is what will happen. If you copy or delete somebody else's work, this is what will happen. If you sit where you are not supposed to sit, this is what. So the learners know the rules and the consequences. And when a learner should commit an offense, should violate one of the rules that you already set up, apply the consequences, the discipline immediately. That same day. If you ignore it, another child will do it tomorrow. You say, he doesn't care. And if you ignore it today, you ignore it tomorrow, then one child does it the next day. Now you want to punish that child. You know, the kids of nowadays can talk. Do you know what they tell you? But ma'am, that child did it that day. You didn't do anything. Why me? You don't like me. Is it because I am? Other issues will come. Set down the rules the first day, set down the consequences, apply the rules in love, discipline in love. I've just discussed with you just one way to manage your class and to enforce discipline in your class. So if I ask you in the examination question paper, as a computer study teacher, this boy is always doing, I give you a kind of a case study. This boy is always doing this and this and this. How can such problem be avoided? So I can test you, I can examine you in different ways to test your understanding of classroom management and discipline. Read it in your study guide. The last thing I'm going to discuss in this presentation is formative and summative assessments. You must evaluate your students. You must evaluate your work. You have taught. How do you know what you have taught the student understands? You must check out. So in education, we have what is called formative assessments, and we have what we call summative assessments. You know, I've come across situation in my 19 to 20 years of this profession. Thank God, by the grace of God, I've risen to the position of a head of department. Now, a teacher in the department brings his examination marks. All of them fail. So I ask you, all of them fail? Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. It means they don't know anything in those questions. Yes. The question I will ask you again is it now that you know that they don't know anything? Are you aware that they don't know anything for the past 10 weeks that the school started? You say, I never knew they don't know. Do you know what the problem is? You have not been carrying out a formative assessment. You have not been carrying out a formative assessment. Is an assessment that you carry out on regular basis. If you go to NED website and download it from the NED website for the secondary and the primary school education, you will see the various categories. Task 1, Task 2, topic task, project, and the rest. If after you have taught a particular topic, take for example computers virus, you examined the learners on that topic and you see that they did not understand that thing, majority of them failed, you go back and teach it using another methodology. If there are learners that are not performing well on that topic, bring them out, use different type of methodology to teach them, so that when they get the question in the examination hall, it will not be new to them. They won't be strange to the type of questions. There are teachers at times they don't conduct formative assessments. They just want to give the questions at the end, which is summative. So get the difference between formative assessment and summative assessment. The formative assessment, the type of assessment that you carry out throughout the term, that includes your topic task, your projects, and other homework, assignment, all of them together. Then the summative is the one that is done at the end of the year, which is the examination. All added together to grade the learner. My beloved students, these are just the few things I have selected from the course outline to explain to you about the examination 2020 on this model. I wish you all the best in your examination. This is not the last time I'm going to have contact with you. Here is my number. Here is my email. Get in touch with me. Write me an email. Call me on my phone. Send me an SMS. I'll be right there to guide you on what is expected of you come 2020, April, August, or November examination. I wish you all the best to become victorious in your examination. Good luck in your examination. Thank you.